It's just too beautiful. I had to start. Now, Paula, hi there. Hey, I just had a look at this. But what I wanted to catch, I almost wish I had started just 5 minutes ago. Official sunrise is right now. Hi, Diane. Official sunrise is right now. But I have done this. Some of you will remember I did this a number of years ago where I'd catch the sunrise right down around here. Good morning. And so I woke up. I made it. I was awake past 8 o'clock last night. You'll all be very impressed. And then my kid was out for Ramadan dinner because it was the last night of Ramadan at his friends. And so he got home at about 11 and came and told me he was home safe and sound. And hi, Anna Marie. I'm just going to put this down. It's -6 outside, so it's a perfect temperature. But then I woke up at 4:45, so that was a sleep in for me. And I looked out the window and I actually went outside looking to see if there were any northern lights. I didn't see any, but it's such a perfect night. And it was forecast to be clear today. Hey, Sarah, good morning to you. But look at this sky out here, everyone. But actually, I'm obviously, if you know Banff, I'm down here at the Bow Falls. And I had, for the last day and a half, I had a private family on tour with me. And they were just lovely people. And I took them up into the Spray Valley, so they got that real high alpine feel. But it wasn't, totally clear weather. Now, they still went out to Lake Louise and walked on the lake, and, which is really something they wanted to do. But I wanted to get a video of this weather this morning and send it to them as well, just so they see just the clear sky down here. But we came down here yesterday and had a walk through, and the same geese are here in the water that were here yesterday. But it's just so nice to share this with everyone. So I'm out walking on the ice. This is my Jesus impression. but it's that old joke. See, we in Canada also believe Jesus walked on water. We just know it was frozen at the time. But have a look at the sky. Now, are you ready? Hold on, let me just come along a little further. And then I'm going to be turning. Hey, Hannah, good morning. I haven't seen you for a little while. How are you? All right. Lovely, lovely reflection, the Takara on the water. And just to prove that it is officially sunrise, we're going to look out towards Mount Brewster in the distance there. And you will see the light just peeking along the top there. I do believe it is almost time to invest in a new gimbal. Finn and I have 3 of these. Hi, Kristen. We have 3 of these Osmo 3s that they're not made anymore, but they've always been the best ones in the cold weather here. But one of them has died completely. And my one here just doesn't seem to balance out perfectly straight anymore. So if we're on a little bit of an angle, it's not that I'm crooked. Hi, everyone. Now, have a look at this light. So the water is, well, it's about the same as yesterday, but it changes volume, of course, just about every day. We did have, yesterday afternoon, it snowed on and off right through the afternoon on my deck and into the evening. There was a tiny accumulation. Hi, Justina. Tiny accumulation on my deck chairs. Many of you will know that in 8 days, I guess, from now, I am heading off to Spain. So I sent out the final itinerary to everyone coming on that trip and the timings and everything. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But of course, it's just such a pleasure to be home with my kid as well. But I just wanted to come down here and share this. It's always worth getting up early in the national park. And I really do mean that. The morning light and of course, as you know, because of our higher latitude, these times change so much. The water is so clear right now, I feel as though I could almost look for some fish. So there's, 4 types of larger fish that are in the water here. The Dolly Varden, or the bull trout, is the native fish that we're trying desperately to help preserve. There is Mount Rundle, of course, in all its glory. And the highest peak on it, 2,949 meters, is just catching a tiny corner of light. And if you need somewhere to stay, and if money is no issue, well, there is the Banff Springs Hotel right up there at the moment. But let me, hey, Janice, hi there. Oh, it's lovely to see you. I realize so often I put these tours up so last minute, but when I looked out the window, I was going to go yesterday morning right at 7 a.m. That's when my gym opens. I went there. And I thought, would I go to the gym? But I'm actually waiting. The climbing wall doesn't open till noon, and I really want to go climbing today. And then I just thought I have to come outside. I really should have brought my bike down. So let me please also, well, as always, acknowledge that I am on Treaty 7 territory here. We had the last couple of days, we just had really good discussions about indigeneity and how people would have lived here pre-contact. And I'm only about, less than a kilometer away from one of the oldest archaeological sites where people would have lived, because they built the pit houses into the ground and they had access to the warm water off the natural hot springs. So that is really interesting. It is, Justina, it is incredibly clear water. However, and you'll have to wait for this, but by later July and into August, you cannot see through the water at all. And that's because that's when it's coming off the glacier and you have all that glacial silt. The glaciers are not melting at the moment. And so it's much clearer. And so it's perfectly, gorgeously clear now. But in August is when you get that famous turquoise color. And I would say the period of time, I'm not officially quantifying this, but I would say the period of time that we see that seems to me to be diminishing somewhat, and that's because, of course, the glaciers are diminishing, which is a major upcoming issue. Look at this break. This is when, of course, in the dead of winter, when you see these kind of cracks, you know where you can walk safely on the ice, because you know where the water's flowing underneath and not. So if you get into your canoe here, you can paddle for... the turquoise water is just fantastic, but you can paddle for, depending on the speed of the river, an hour to 2 hours, and you make it down to Canmore. You cannot paddle all the way to Calgary, unfortunately, because there is a dam at one spot. But historically, of course, you could get in the water here, and if you counted every bend, it would take you about 4,800 kilometers to get all the way to the Hudson's Bay. So there's the Fairholme Range out in the distance. There's another person showed up with their camera. So many people do come down here for sunrise. But there's the geese out there, and the geese are being very noisy this time of year because you know what? They've got that loving ceiling. LR. Oh, Lisa, hi. So generally, the question is how long till the snow melts completely? We can have snow on the side of the rivers well into June. So last year was extremely early. It was mid-May, and this year our snowpack is much lighter than it really should be. So yeah, generally I'd say you'd still see some patches of snow right into late May, early June. As a general rule, look how thick that is. And I actually love coming down here. When I was with this family yesterday, who came down because they were very interested in glaciers and glaciation, and this gives us a sense of how they form. Roughly we say 3 meters or 9 feet of snow for 2 centimeters or an inch of glacial ice. So they pack in this way. Of course, this all melts off, so it doesn't create glacial ice. But high in the mountains or during a cold period on the planet, that would keep piling up and compressing down so densely that that's what would turn into that blue ice, and it would squeeze out all the air. That's that dense glacial ice. You might hear, I have my headphones and you might hear me cracking along in the snow here, but look how thick this is. Keep in mind, let's put this in some perspective. As all the snow melts, this will come up, and it'll come up right along, and these trees, these aspen trees here, their bases, you see their roots are actually above the rocks. They can be underwater for 2 or 3 weeks. Not enough to drown them out, but nice, fresh, clean water. But that's how high this water can come up. And I've had years where it's actually come up above the rocks and flooded a bit, not dangerous flooding. We would love that this year, but the snowpack just doesn't indicate that at all. We're desperately short on the snowpack. Look at the few wispy clouds out there giving us this morning light. It's such a treat to share this with everyone. There's Mount Norquay up in the distance, but boy, I was going to go out skiing today. I might go tomorrow if it stays cold, but I think it's going to get warm. But because I was out at the ski hill the other day, I saw so much bare ground there that it's not skiing that I really want to do, because it's actually a little dangerous, I think. I've only skied about 20 times this winter, which pays for my pass at least, but it's not as much as I'd love to ski a lot more than that. Hey, thank you, Sarah. Check out this slab of rock here. I love this slab of rock because that is coral reef, by the way. And now, as we come around here, you'll look up to Sleeping Buffalo Mountain or Tunnel Mountain. That's the side cliffs. You don't see the shape of it, but that's the little one. Really, had I thought of doing this earlier, I would have had to put my cleats on, but I should have gone up to the top of Buffalo there just to have given the view. But now the light around me Oh, you feel so alive here. Um, if you come out and say it's -6 Celsius, so that's about, I guess, 20 Fahrenheit, 22, something like that. But again, so bone dry. Um, yeah. Oh, Justina, great question. Yes, Finn does have a tour on Friday. Finn's put up one, and I really appreciate that he's developed this website. I might put up a couple, just as a side note, a couple of these pay-for ones when I'm in places that cost me a lot to get there. And for example, I will be in Dawson City in the Yukon in May. I've been promising to do a tour there for so long. You will find fossils out here, absolutely. These coral reef ones you don't see, you really look, you will find them. It's so pocked up. But yes, you will find fossils all through. Keep in mind, the birth of the UNESCO designation for the Canadian mountains, the Canadian Rockies, actually started at the Burgess Shale down in Yoho Park. And that is the most important fossil record on planet Earth. And that's only about an hour drive from here. Well, hour and a half. But that's another trip in the summer. Yeah, just, I think you just go to the site and click through. And so hopefully it's nice on Friday afternoon, but Finn was picking up some really good support when he was down there in Australia, and he thought, well, I'm going to keep putting at least one up a week. Finn's actually working this afternoon. He's going to school, but he didn't have a first period, so I'm going to drive him into Canmore to school a little later, but I'm going to let him sleep in. Poor kid is still adjusting from the Australia time. Now look at the light way out the distance there. Thanks, Paula. Isn't it just gorgeous here? So, I mean, all around us, it is just magical. And this is, by the way, the little river I'm beside here is the Spray River. So this one never gets cloudy because there's no glacial ice up there in Kananaskis anymore. But you can look how clear this is. In the summertime, I will walk right across, not this exact section, but I'll walk in there with my sandals on. It's always cold. And you know what? There's clearly, that's very interesting to me. There's a pipe in here that probably goes back to the early days of the Banff Springs. I really don't know anything about that. But you can already see there is a little bit of a change of color where the two rivers meet up. But how is this for just a perfect sunrise? It is such a pleasure, such an honor to live in a place where I too get excited about seeing the sights around here, even though I live here. And it was interesting. It was fun yesterday because it is so nice to see it through other people's eyes as well. And it's always beautiful and always fun. But when you do get these crisp blue sky days, these mornings are just magical. And they are just magical and they're meaningful. So yeah, I'm right out on high ice. This one you can sometimes walk across in the winter. Lisa, it wouldn't have been. That one's just sitting there. So it wouldn't be erosion right there per se, I don't think. Although the rocks move around. So, hey, Michelle, bonjour. Janice, and I do hear you. Cape Cod, of course, has its majesty to it as well. We were Googling numbers yesterday just for fun. But today, in my lifetime, so just my lifetime, the world population, I always said, has doubled. It actually has more than doubled. And the one thing about living in a national park is, town's never going to grow. But it's why we do need protected spaces on this planet. And that's why, though, as well, I don't want the protected spaces to be exclusive. And that's my great worry at this fancy hotel up here. So when I was visiting my friends in Rome, who are also guides, we were talking about, the cost and the over-tourism that's happening in places like Rome right now, and Venice and Dubrovnik and all those sort of famous cities. But I put in, my friends had stayed with me in Banff here before, and I put in 3 nights at the Banff Springs Hotel in August, and it came up $5,000. And it really scares me that these wild places will not be accessible to regular people. Like, I sure as heck couldn't afford $5,000 for 3 nights, and that's excluding breakfast. You know what I mean? So it is a genuine reality, a genuine concern for all of us. Now that's 5,000 Canadian, so 4,000 US. It's still an obscene amount of money. But look at the light now. It's a Brewster Peak way up that valley. If you travel up that valley in the distance, you will get into the Ghost Valley, and that's where the bison were reintroduced in 2017. Now, I have a friend here in town, and they have a ranch way up in the Tinda, it's called. It's a valleys in the back, and they do, in the summertime, horse trips. Amazing people. They've been watching the bison population grow in there. But what they're saying so far is the wolf population still don't seem to be hunting the bison. It's almost as if they'd forgotten to do that. And that could prove to be an issue. I don't really want to opine on that stuff too much because that's real expertise. So look at this nice bit of ice here. So, but it is interesting to talk to people who, really are seeing the change. Oh, there we are. Yeah. What do they say? Just say no to crack. Look at that. That's fun. There's your ultimate foot shot there. There's a little bit of water under there, but it's actually flowing out from here. Boy, that is just dramatic out there too, isn't it? So Mount Inglesmaldy up there in the distance, and Mount Girard, and that's again that Fairholme Range, and then up behind that's Lake Minnewanka. Do you know, I really have to go. Diane, when I promise I'll be careful. This is just a little bit of water under here. That's not. It's like if I went through, my foot would get a tiny bit wet. That's it. I promise you. You can hear me crunching on it. But maybe Diane, when you're here, we should do a video up at Lake Minnewanka because I can never do a live up there. But yeah, no, this is just a tiny puddle down here. I promise you, I couldn't get hurt on this. Well, I could slip. I don't want you to feel nervous. One gentleman out here enjoying the morning light. But yes, when I looked out the window, I just thought to myself, I have to be outside this morning. My hands are starting to get a little cold. I just have the thin gloves on, but the rest is not at all, and I haven't cold plunged today. So, but see, so I feel nice and warm, and just the hands. And anytime I touch the screen, I have to take my little gloves off. But I think the lens the other way is better. But look at this silhouette. I do have a painting at home somewhere that my dad did. I can barely draw a straight line. But and Dad did one where he did one of these kind of Alberta skies where you have the real change in colors, which is just lovely. Switch that over. So it is so nice to have everyone here. It is just. So there's 3 ducks, another duck. The mergansers are around. There's a fellow who works up at the Banff Center at our gym, but also he's a really fabulous wildlife photographer. I think I've shared a couple of his Instagram posts. I need to share a link to his page, but he's been out most of the winter watching otters around here, and he does some real distance photography of the goats, the mountain goats, but also he got a picture of a merganser the other day, so they're back, and I believe I saw 2 robins the other day. Hey, Sean, how are you, pal? So ladies and gentlemen, so where it says eat and walk about, that is our friend Sean or Tiernan, his son. And I am going to actually visit them at the end of the trip to Spain. They were the ones who have been our agent for Spain for obviously all the expertise, but also they have the licensing and the contract. So we met virtually, and so it is so nice to be connected that way. So it's so nice to, through our virtual worlds, these kind of worlds, we can actually all do business together. Thanks, Hannah. Hey, cheers. Yeah, so my motivation is, of course, Sean and I became friends anyway, but my motivation to go up to Vigo and Galicia with him is that they do these culinary trips, and I am going to try and starve myself the day before so that I can go out and eat and drink and try all the just spectacular food they have in that part of the world. So yes, we're leaving for Spain in just 10 days or 9 days. Yum, exactly, Paula. And then, actually, I'm gonna make another comment about that, Paula. But then I think what we might try and do next year with Sean, with his company, is maybe Portugal and Galicia, something like that. They also have a trip to Madeira, which I'm gonna share a link to at some point. But Paula, did you see the little video we did on St. Patrick's Day? So we had a fun St. Patrick's Day get together at the house. And my mum came out and everything, and of course, it's my dad's side that was the Irish side, but we always celebrate St. Patrick's Day. But Finn said he'll cook, and Finn, of course, loves everything Irish except the food, and so he cooked ginger chicken and ginger beef, which is very much Asian fusion food from our part of the world. That's how we celebrated in a culinary sense, St. Patrick's Day. But I remember the last night that Finn was in Dublin with me, we went out for dinner, of course, and portions in Ireland are substantial, to say the least. And he ordered fish, not fried, and they do a beautiful fish. And then he said there were 4 types of potatoes on his plate. There were basically 6 potatoes in different forms on his plate. And he's a rice eater. Now, we have to keep hanging on out here, everyone, because the light is just starting to come up in the distance. Yeah. Well, oh, it is. And Finn he will actually you can just say, what do you want for dinner? He said, I'll throw something together, and he makes a lot of rice bowls for breakfast too. I really look forward to the food in Spain always. I'm very much a tapas guy rather than the big meals. And I don't love paella, I must admit. I like it, but yeah, good chorizo. And Finn would struggle with the food in Spain these days. He has been to Spain, but when he was young, but because he doesn't eat pork, so many cured ham and everything. But look at that light just coming through. Oh, wow. I don't know if you're seeing little mist. I don't think it's coming through on the screen, but when I'm breathing out, of course, it's freezing. Oh, by the way, there's our beach. We can park up on the other side. That's Surprise Corner. That's where everyone goes to get a photograph of the Banff Springs Hotel. And you can come down, and you will see people laying on that beach in the summertime. As many of you know, I swim in the river. I cold plunge this time of year, but in the summer I'll actually swim in it when the water level is up. And you can come down here and swim in the current. Right now, obviously you can't. It's very rocky. What you cannot do, incidentally, is kayak or raft down the Bow Falls. Obviously the water is very low now. In the summer, the water level, in spring I should say, end of May, early June, the water will be high enough that you don't see those rocks. But the shape of them is really a shale formation. And it's just like razor blades, so no one's allowed to go down that. And this is the same reason why the Banff Springs Hotel is right here. And this is when William Van Horn said, I'm going to build a castle in the mountains to pay for the trains. But the town is down on the other side because train couldn't follow the river up through these falls. And they're not particularly high, of course, but they do go on for, 3/4 of a kilometer. So it's quite a long way. And you can see that perfect river cut valley versus the giant U valleys. So what a gorgeous morning, isn't it? Lovely to have people here on board from, I expect, all over the world. Our YouTube channel is, it's still small, of course, but it really is growing. And our Facebook page, our To Me Travel Facebook page now, between follows and likes, is over 20,000 people. Hi, Nat. So it's nice to be able to reach out to everyone that way. I do ask if you're happy to please press the like button and feel free to share these. Hi there from Cambridge. Cambridge is a lovely place. That's fun. Hey, Pauline, nice to see you there. It's nice to have people from Cambridge. Goodness me, it's been a few years I haven't been to Cambridge. I will be in London next week, but for literally one night. It's because we get the direct flight from Calgary so often. And with all due respect to all my friends in Ontario, if I can avoid Toronto Pearson's Airport, I will do so as much as possible. So I'm flying through. Actually, I am coming back from Madrid though, via Toronto. That was the only option there. But I'm glad you caught me. Pauline, I have to tell you that your Facebook page I find to be one of the very best because you've put up some of the best memes. You're welcome to share any and all on the Campervan page because they make me laugh. And they're bright and witty. Did you notice? So some of you saw the eclipse. We were out at Lake Louise, and it was only a kind of a quarter of the sun eclipse here. I have to look back. I took a few photos. It was cloudy, but you could see a little bit of the formation. I know there in Ontario, someone sent me a picture of the full eclipse, which was just fantastic. And then you might be aware that there was this small earthquake in New Jersey, New York, and our friend Pauline, you'll know where I'm going with this. Our friend Marjorie Taylor Greene, the really crazy one, said that the eclipse and the earthquake were like a warning from God. But the epicenter of the earthquake was right around Donald Trump's golf course. So she's taking a warning. I think she should probably listen to herself. The eclipse, on the other hand, is a shadow. For those who think it was planned, I know. I couldn't help. I have been very, very inactive on TikTok because of all the threats. But I had to do one yesterday just because I was still laughing at that. But it's just a whole level of crazy that, and the fact that these people are getting wealthy off it. But let's come back to here. Now, I tell you what, everyone, I'm at 25 minutes. I'm in no mad rush, and my battery is doing quite well here. The sun was eating. That's right. And, I feel really badly if my son were eating. Why don't we just take one little drive up into town? I know some people find the movement hard, but seeing as how I'm the only car out here, why don't we take one little drive up into town and we'll just see what the light looks like? Because I almost went over to one of our pedestrian bridges because the light on the Massif range was just breathtaking as well. But I kind of knew that right down here, the light would be sort of perfect. So if you want to take one little drive into town, to see, isn't it amazing to think that the water can come right up? Like, that's how huge the water volume differences are. Whenever you see these round rocks anywhere in the world, but anywhere in these mountain areas, you know that they're river valleys because these are all rocks that have been turned over. If they're a lot bigger, then usually that's the case, that they have been brought down or turned over by the glaciers as well. It is nice to be down here. I just have to show it. Some of you will remember this. We've got all our signs around National Park, right? So they're all our bilingual signs, and they're explaining, actually, this is the refraction, where you get the turquoise water different times of the year, si froid, si bleu, and the different types of fish we have here, which is always fun. There's the mergansers. I love seeing them just because they're such attractive ducks. But this has been, as long as I can remember, this sign has been here. I love Parks Canada. I'm a great believer, but this bureaucracy, because this little map here says you are here, but that's not true because you are here. And it's been that way for as long as I can remember. I'm sure it is trapped in some committee somewhere. Hey, thanks, Pauline. Look at that sky, though, just for 1 second here. And then I will go hop in the car, take you for a drive, and then I'll go home and see if by chance that wonder kid of mine is awake. Oh, no, Lisa. So what Lisa's saying here, we used to have for years a phone booth right here with no phone in it. And the phone had actually been ripped out by a grizzly. And that's true. And as a guide, I loved it because you could actually see the claw marks in there. But it was, at the end of the day, an unnecessary thing. But this is a bear-proof bin. And this is what we want to do. Keep bears wild. I do have the bear spray in the back of the car. Bears are awake. I haven't seen any yet. And often I don't for a while. But they are awake. They've been seen the boss is awake. He's our biggest, oldest bear. And there's quite a few sightings up in Jasper. And I believe they're awake down in Yellowstone too, where there's a big bear population. This is where you have to be very careful this time of year walking, you see? Because we're getting above freezing in the day, and so it'll melt a bit and it'll refreeze at night. So this, by the way, is my new car, which is a little dirty because we were up in the Spray Valley yesterday. But it is nice and big enough for doing private tours, which I really just finally made the decision that I'm going to spend the whole summer at home. Summer is very short here, July and August, but it's beautiful. So there we are. So I'm just taking the gloves off. Oh, thanks, Walter. And say, my new car wasn't brand new. This was actually it's always funny to say it, but kind of my best friend's car. And my other one had 238,000 kilometers on it. But the real reason I wanted a Ford, so you can hear that's the fan is blowing for the defrost. The reason I wanted a Ford is these are some of the challenges to living in a place like this. Because the other one I had was a Honda, but I couldn't get it serviced here. So I had to drive into the city every time. These are the passes for living in the national park. But this one is just a little bit bigger, a little more comfortable for taking people around. And I do like this Ford Edge. Except for we're now paying $1.65 a liter for fuel. And so this one, so I've actually got a standing deal with the dealership. When they get all-wheel drive hybrid in, I'll trade this in. Sorry, I just have to give you one more view. I have to, there we go. My window was frozen shut. One more view down there just because it's so perfect. But let's take, hi there. One little drive up down. By the way, it might just cut out. There's one little section up here when I go up around the bend, which I went around years ago, but up around here where I kind of lose reception. So if it cuts out, hopefully it comes back. Might well hold on just fine. But I always remember in the past, I just kind of lose my reception up here one little bit. But what a gorgeous, gorgeous morning. So, and speed limit everywhere in Banff, in the town of Banff, absolutely everywhere is 30 kilometers an hour, which is 20 miles. And that was a real decision that they made. They just said with, getting 7 million visitors a year, this is the 1 week of the year that's kind of quiet, which is lovely in its own way. But with so many visitors, just saying, you know what, slow down and just slow down and enjoy it. And of course, so many people don't know where they're going. Look at that sky. And here's a lovely heritage home out here, which looks much more like the style of Loyalist housing that would have been in Ontario. But you know what? I'm not going to go up the main street. I'm going to take you down little Glen Avenue here, just for the fun of it. Just for fun. But this is where I will often ride my bike down through here. But I need to take my bike, change my tires out. So I'm going to take the studs off, even though there will be more snowstorms, but I'll take the studs off the tires and have my summer tires, which are still huge, fat tires, on my mountain bike. This afternoon, it might be warm enough that I might pump up the tires and take my road bike out for a ride. I've seen a few people out and about. And there is a house for sale up here. Remember, if you want to buy a house here, I think this one said sold. Yeah, so that house is sold. It takes about a year and a half to buy or sell a house in Banff because you need a permit to do so. And any of these houses down around here, a couple of $1 million. So that young man has his uniform on for working at Sunshine Village. Or no, sorry, Mount Norquay. But yeah, this is just a fun street. And I can go down under the main car bridge. Oh, the sky today, Jane, it's just, this is why I wanted to come out and do a morning tour. And I know I put these things up so very last minute. But even when we do, still get 40 or 50 people. This is one of the pedestrian bridges. Oops. Look at that view down there. So there is Cascade down in the distance. Oh, you're off to physio. Well, good for you, Diane. Well, of course, it's a pleasure. I just about sent you a message saying I was going to do a tour, but I figure if you were online, you would have seen that. So there's ladies out with her dog in the morning. All dogs need to be on leashes, of course. And that's very, very important. But yeah, when I come down under here, oh, it's just beautiful. But I just wanted to show you the mountains in the distance. That's out to the Massif Range, Mount Bourgeot. I hope we're not taller than 2.47 meters. Haha, we're not. But if I had my bike on top, but there we are by the old Banff trading post out here. I'm a huge believer in physio. By the way, I don't like chiropractors. Do you know why? I find them manipulative. It's a chiropractic joke in the morning. So no wind at all. You can see the flag's not moving, Treaty 7 flag, and the river's very calm down to the right. But I am in town now, so I think I will probably bid you adieu. That's a good one, isn't it, James? So I just want to say good morning and happy day wherever you are in the world. And please do press those like buttons. The algorithm seems to be working. I mean, our channel's growing. It's sort of fun. But really, it's still just the fun to keep everyone connected. So nice. And let me see. Tomorrow I might put something up. I might go out to the ski hill. I'm not sure. So I might put something up. But it'll all be kind of same kind of thing last minute when it seems like the right thing to do. So peace and love to everyone. thanks for coming along this morning and enjoying this sunrise with me. And I'm going to go wake up that kid of mine and give him a big hug. So all the very best. Hey, keep in touch. See you soon. No, you're very welcome. And thanks for all the support, everyone. Bye-bye.